Topic of the hour. We are now 8 days away from Election Day. Former President Trump hitting the campaign trail hard, holding an historic rally last night at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden, just days after appearing on Joe Rogan's podcast for more than 30 million subscribers. Fox News' digital political correspondent, Brooke Singman, with the very latest from the campaign trail this morning. Brooke, you were at the rally last night. Tell us about it.
Maria, it was so exciting. Good morning. Former President Donald Trump taking the stage at Madison Square Garden, making a bold final pitch to tens of thousands of voters in deep blue New York City, which included a promise to bring back the American dream. Watch.
This will be America's new golden age. It's going to happen quickly, too, very quickly. The fate of our nation is in your hands. Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job, that crooked Joe Biden has done a terrible job. You've destroyed our country. We're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out. You're fired. On issue after issue, Kamala broke it, but I will fix it.
Trump also celebrating the Republican Party becoming a party of inclusion after receiving support from voters in traditionally Democrat voting blocs.
We're seeing historic levels of support among our black population, Hispanic population, and our Asian population. Jews, Muslims, they're all joining our cause in large numbers, larger than anyone has ever seen in this country before, larger than they've ever seen in any country. And the Republican Party has really become the party of inclusion.
And Maria, the Garden, which is the home of the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers, was completely sold out last night, filling all 19,500 seats with thousands of Trump supporters lining up outside for hours before the former president took the stage. The rally was filled with special appearances as several big-name speakers shared why they think Donald Trump should be the next president. CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk, was there, along with CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick. We also saw speeches from Dr. Phil, Dana White, Hulk Hogan, vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and many, many more. And former First Lady Melania Trump also made a surprise appearance to introduce her husband and talk about his vision for America's future.
America's most fearless leaders, whose mark changed the course of the world. New York City and America needs their magic back. A country of tomorrow that will shape our future and reset expectations for the generations. Let us charge together with a shared vision that builds on American greatness. Let's seize this moment and create a country for tomorrow, the future that we deserve.
So, Maria, we are just 8 days out from the election. Former President Donald Trump will be back on the campaign trail today in Georgia.
All right. Lots going on. Brooke,
yeah.
Thank you. Brooke Singman there. Liz Peek, your reaction.
Well, I thought it was an extraordinary event, Maria, not just in terms of the crowd size, because, by the way, there are also hundreds, if not thousands, of people outside the arena who couldn't get in. Yeah. So it really was an extraordinary thing. And having the Democrats deride this event as a Hitler-like event really was so incredibly stupid after so many Democratic presidents have actually announced and accepted their nomination in Madison Square Garden. And by the way, banners, flags of Israel were flying in this event. There were a lot of Hasidic Jews who showed up. So, I mean, the reporting, I did flip back and forth to see what the liberal TV stations were showing about this. Of course, it was all negative. It was all about racism and so forth. But you know what? It was a great moment. And I think people watching it on Fox News last night, which they could do throughout, came away thinking this is the party of inclusion. By the way, this morning, the Daily Beast has an article out saying that Melania Trump could be Donald Trump's secret weapon to winning this election. So there you go.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned the Jewish angle, because that was my instinct as well, Liz. When I was watching yesterday on Fox News, Carly Shimkins was outside and she was interviewing everybody. And what struck me, Scott, was the fact that there were so many people holding Israeli flags.
Yeah.
And, you know, what happened here in the last six months, I think, is while immigration and inflation are still our leading issues in terms of what voters are really impacted by, there has been another group of voters that have become one-issue voters, and that is Jewish voters, people who care about the treatment of Israel so much, and they feel that a red line was crossed with this administration. That once Kamala Harris and Joe Biden threatened Israel that they're going to hold back weapons, that's it. That was the red line. And these voters are all in on Trump now.
Absolutely.
Because they recognize Israel will be better off with Trump as opposed to Kamala.
And Biden blew it with those voters, Maria, and they're showing up for Trump. And Liz mentioned the moments that were there. I mean, talk about the moments. How many moments? There were just so many people there. And the rally was so long, too. And folks stayed throughout and stayed around afterwards. So you had a total buy-in of the folks that were there, the folks that came from across the country to come back and see him after. Don't forget, guys, when we had the New York criminal trial, there wasn't a ton of support outside the courthouse when he was going through that. Nowadays, we've got a ton of support rallying around him from all over the country coming to New York to see this event.
Yeah, and I'm glad Liz mentioned, you know, what happened at Madison Square Garden in the past. People have accepted their nominations there. But the fact that the Democrats are comparing this to Nazism, Liz, is so disgusting. You actually have people speaking out about it, like Mayor Adams was very disturbed by it. He said it's ridiculous to compare Trump to Hitler. And then you had actual survivors of the Holocaust. I saw one guy on Instagram. He was horrified by it. And he said that Kamala Harris owes President Trump an apology.
Yeah.
For comparing him to Hitler for this MSG. I mean, obviously they must be just so jealous that he commanded the entire Madison Square Garden.
I think they're just,
you know,
I think
terrible.
they're scared to death, Maria. Whatever they're doing isn't working. In fact, according to Politico, the main PAC supporting Kamala Harris came out yesterday with an advisory saying, hey, this Hitler stuff, this demonization of Donald Trump, and by the way, half the country is not working. We need to go back to policies and talking about what Kamala Harris will do or will do
won't
to
do, or say she
the
won't
country.
do.
Exactly.
Won't tell you what she won't do or will do.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know what she's going to do. Okay, she won't answer the question. I can't believe how many times she has been unable to answer the question of how will you rein in inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, that should be easy for her.
And how do you vote for somebody you don't know who you're getting?
Yeah.
You know, Trump is Trump, right? That's fine, but you know what you're getting. Kamala, you have no idea what you're going to get. So that's a crapshoot.
It's a lot of flip-flops going on.